I still can't sleep when I hear spiders crawling. It's not the spiders that scare me. It's what they remind me of. It happened in my village, deep in the heart of Ghana. I was just a child, maybe 10 or 11. Everyone knew the stories about Anansi, the trickster spider god. We grew up hearing how clever he was, how he outsmarted even the most powerful beings. But no one ever told us the darker side of those stories. Not until that night. It was the dry season, and the air felt thick and hot, heavy with the scent of dust and distant fires. The nights were quieter than usual, with the usual symphony of crickets and frogs replaced by an eerie stillness. My grandmother had warned me not to wander too far from the house after sunset. The forest listens, she said. And Anansi watches. I had laughed, thinking it was just another tale meant to keep children obedient. But that night, I learned that some stories are warnings, not just lessons. I was chasing fireflies near the edge of the forest, my bare feet kicking up soft clouds of dry earth. The moon was bright, painting the trees in silver, making the shadows stretch long and sharp. I wasn't afraid. Not at first. Then I heard it. A soft, clicking sound, like sticks tapping together. It was rhythmic, deliberate, like something stepping carefully through the underbrush. I turned slowly, expecting to see a bird hopping through the leaves or a monkey rustling in the trees. But it was neither of those things. It was a spider. Not a normal spider. This one was huge, the size of a small dog, with long, spindly legs that glistened in the moonlight as though coated in oil. Its body was covered in thick, bristly hairs that shifted when it moved. And its eyes, too many of them, gleamed like black pearls, reflecting the pale light. I froze. My breath caught in my throat. The spider didn't move. It just stared at me. Then it spoke. "Little one," it said, its voice like dry leaves rustling together, "do you know who I am?" I couldn't answer. My mouth had gone dry, and my legs felt like they were rooted to the ground. The spider chuckled, a low, rattling sound. "I am Anansi," it whispered. "And you have seen too much." The words coiled around me like a web. I wanted to run, but my body refused to obey. Anansi stepped closer, his legs clicking against the dry earth. "I have a secret," he said, his voice slithering into my ears. "A dark one. And now, so do you." That's when I saw the webs. They stretched from tree to tree, shimmering in the moonlight, impossibly vast and intricate. And trapped within them were shapes, human shapes. Faces frozen in silent screams, bodies suspended like forgotten marionettes. Their skin was dull, their eyes empty. I felt my stomach lurch, bile rising in my throat. My heart pounded so hard I thought it might burst from my chest. Anansi leaned in, his hot, sour breath washing over my face. "I do not just trick people," he murmured. "I collect them. Those who wander too far, who ask too many questions, who do not listen to their elders." His many eyes blinked, glistening with something almost like amusement. "They become part of my web. I don't remember how I escaped. Maybe I screamed, maybe I ran blindly into the night. Maybe Anansi let me go, knowing the terror would keep me silent. When I finally stumbled into the village, gasping and drenched in cold sweat, my grandmother was already waiting for me by the fire. She didn't look surprised. She simply took my shaking hands in hers and whispered, "Anansi is not just a trickster. He is a keeper of secrets. And now, you are part of his story." The next morning, I told my mother what I had seen. She pursed her lips, exchanged a knowing glance with my grandmother, and told me never to speak of it again. The village carried on as if nothing had happened. But I noticed things I hadn't before, the way the elders always avoided the forest at night, the way they never spoke of those who disappeared. How sometimes, at dawn, there would be a new empty hut, its occupants simply gone without explanation. I never went near the forest again. But late at night, when the world is quiet and the air is still, I sometimes hear it, the clicking of long legs against the ground, the whisper of silk being spun. And I know he's still watching. I don't chase fireflies anymore.